So lately I have been reading this book, which is the Qur'an. And if you know me, you know I'm really interested in like religion, philosophy, anything like that. So I was really excited to read this, especially, and compare it with the Bible. Christianity and Islam are from the same branch of religions called Abrahamic religions. They have a lot of similarities, also some differences. And I think it's going to be really good to compare it. I've been reading some of it, so I want to talk to you about what I've read, what I think of it. So I'm really excited to share this with you. The Qur'an was written about 1,400 years ago, and it was written in classical Arabic, so basically old-fashioned Arabic. And obviously it's a holy book of Islam. It's believed to be the word of God, and it's divided into many chapters, called surahs. And I have read a few. I've been reading it on my train journeys to and from Nottingham when I'm free. And I'm really excited to share with you some of the things I found and discuss with you. So the first chapter is called The Opening. Let me just find it past all these introduction pages. Where is it? Okay, so the Qur'an. First bit is called The Opening. It's a very short chapter, as you can see. It just says, so I know that people like Richard Dawkins will say they're going to not treat religion with kid gloves. They're just going to analyse it and criticise it as they would anything else. But I don't know, I personally believe any sort of religion deserves some sort of degree of respect to it. And coming from a Christian background myself, I am really interested to read this and compare it with Christianity. A lot of my friends are Muslim, and by reading this as well, I feel like a lot of white people will do things that like get in touch with other cultures and then they'll expect loads of praise and respect for it, and that is not where I'm coming from at all. I'm genuinely reading this because I'm interested in it. I really want to compare it, and I hope that by reading this I can encourage other white people perhaps to pick up the Quran for themselves, learn more about a religion that they might be unfamiliar with. Because I think by reading something like this, it helps you understand other people, and it will help me understand Islam a lot more, help me understand my Muslim friends and things like that. And also it's such a great piece of literature. Like, this is 1,400 years old. That's crazy. You don't think that is the coolest thing ever? Anyway, so let's get to it. So the first chapter was just like an opening. It just says, in the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy, praise belongs to God. This is an English translation, by the way. I can't read classical Arabic, surprisingly. It is you we worship, it is you we ask for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those you have blessed, those who incur no anger and who have not gone astray. So, yeah. Oh, also, I'm filming this outside. Ta-da, my first outside vlog. It's a really nice day today, so only felt appropriate. Okay, so the second chapter is called The Cow. I don't know why it's called The Cow, and from what I've gathered from reading this chapter, it gives you a lot of rules and it tells you a bit about the history of Islam and things. And I like that all the rules, well, not all of them, but a lot of the rules here are basically in one place. So it does spell it out to you a lot more than I'd say the Bible does. It's definitely a lot more clear. There's some bits I really like, and I need to try and find it to show you. Oh yeah, I asked a lot of my Muslim friends for help and guidance before I read this as to what chapters are good. Well, ones they prefer over the others, and they helped me a lot, so it's been a really useful starting point, so thank you. I really like in the Quran that not all the rules are really strict. I like, so for example, it says here, God has only forbidden you carrion, blood, pig's meat and animals over which any name other than God's has been invoked. But if anyone is forced to eat such things by hunger rather than desire or excess, he commits no sin. God is most merciful and forgiving. And I really like that bit, because it says you should try to eat halal meat, but if you're stuck on a deserted island and the only thing on this island are pigs or something, then God is merciful and he will forgive you. He knows that you had no other option, and I think that's a really nice bit to put in there. it does make it a lot more clear that we shouldn't judge people for doing things because they have to, that God will forgive you if he knows that it's the only thing you could have done, if that makes sense. So I really like that bit. Another part that was recommended to me was this chapter, which is about Mary, and it's really cool, this chapter, because obviously it's the same as Mary, the Virgin Mary in the Bible, and she's in the Qur'an as well, crossover or something. It's really cool because obviously Mary's in the Bible as well, so it's cool to read this and see what this says about Mary. And it's pretty much the same. It actually seems to say a bit more detail than perhaps I remember. Gabriel appears to Mary. He says she's going to have a son. Obviously in the Quran, Jesus is not considered the son of God. He is considered very holy and like a prophet, I believe, but he's not considered, he doesn't have the same status as in Christianity. So one interesting thing that definitely was not in Christianity is God says to Mary, say to anyone you may see, I have vowed to the Lord of mercy, God, to abstain from conversation, and I will not talk to anyone today. And this is just after she's given birth to Jesus. She's gone to a palm tree, she's given birth to Jesus, God has given her some dates to eat, and he has told her, don't speak to anyone for the rest of the day. She's like, okay. So she goes back to her family, and she's carrying Jesus, and they say, Mary, what have you done? You've had a child. And oh, there's a spider. Sorry, it was on my phone. Where was I? So she went back to her family carrying Jesus, and they said, Mary, you've done something really bad. You've had a child, but it's not with Joseph. What is going on? And Mary couldn't respond to any of this, so she just like points to Jesus. She's like, and they were like, how can we converse with an infant? And then this bit, sorry, there's another spider, I don't know where they're all coming from. And then this bit here says that Jesus, baby Jesus, who's like less than a day old, then spoke to the family and said, I am a servant of God. He has granted me the scripture, made me a prophet, made me blessed wherever I may be. He commanded me to pray, to give alms as long as I live, to cherish my mother. So it's meant to be that Jesus spoke here when he was a baby, which is interesting. I mean, it's not more unreasonable than in the Bible where Jesus walks on water. I mean, that bit wasn't in the Bible. But there are some different interpretations of that. It says here in the footnotes that some suggest that Muhammad is ordered to make the statement, others that it is Jesus speaking, because the Quran was God dictating to Muhammad what to say, and Muhammad was writing it all down. I think the Prophet Muhammad was writing it all down. So there are some bits where it might not be a bit clear whether it's Muhammad's point of view, I guess, saying that, or if it's, yeah, it's not 100% clear with things like that. There's different interpretations. If you're Muslim, comment below your interpretation of this. Okay, and the last bit that I've had time to read is Surah 55, which is called the Lord of Mercy, and I believe the person who recommended this to me said that it helps them feel like God is with them when they're in tough times, so I was quite excited, I guess, to read this. So this one talks about what paradise is like, and pretty much after every sentence it says, which then of your Lord's blessings do you both deny? And I quite like that because I don't know, it felt quite emotive even to me, not as, even though I wasn't a Muslim, this one in particular felt quite emotive to me, so I was quite interested to read this. So it describes a beautiful paradise, saying every kind of fruit, gardens with springs and date palms and pomegranate trees, basically painting a beautiful paradise, and it contrasts that with hell, essentially, saying like when the sky is split and turns crimson, everyone on earth perishes, a flash of fire and smoke will be released upon you and no one will come to your aid, And after every sentence of this it will say, which then of your Lord's blessings do you both deny? So I think it's meant to emphasise the power perhaps of God and how much it means to you to be good and just be a good person, I think. So I quite liked this. My one, I don't know if I'd call it a criticism, but the one thing I wasn't as sure about is how the Qur'an talks about women, perhaps. So for example, when it describes paradise in the Lord of Mercy, it talks about maidens restraining their glances untouched before by man or jinn. This to me seems to be written perhaps for a man, and perhaps paints women as a bit of a reward or trophies. This is just my interpretation of it, and of course I am new to Islam. I don't know anything about the context really and what this was written. But to me I was a bit unsure about that, so I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on that if you're a Muslim. It'd be really cool. Also, someone asked me if I'd converted. I have not converted. It would be quite a lot for me to convert after reading 3 chapters of the Quran. Personally, I don't think I will convert. I'm okay with Christianity, to be honest, but you know, you can't really predict things like that. Maybe one day I will decide that Islam is the truth. I don't know. But I do think this was really interesting, and I have only read like 3 chapters of it, but I have quite liked what I've read so far. It is really cool. It's really nice to hear about a different interpretation of the same events and hear about new things I haven't heard of before. I feel like it's helped me understand Islam a lot more, and yeah, I would really recommend it if you're a Christian, if you're a Jewish person, if you've got no religion, anything. I think it's really great to read another religion's book like this, because it really opens your eyes to different things and helps you understand different things. And after I've read this one, I'm coming for the Torah next. And maybe the Bhagavad Gita, we'll see. But yeah, so hopefully I've kept this short. I probably haven't, but I hope you enjoyed that. And I will probably make a video in the future after I've read some more. Let me know if you want to see it, and remember to subscribe, and please comment your thoughts, especially if you're Muslim. I'd love to hear them.